Guys, we have a lot to cover. It's the return of the living legend, Coach Ronnie Shields.
Ventures proudly presents living legend and elite level trainer Ronnie Shields.
Guys, welcome. Happy Tuesday to all of you guys. And guys, if it's Tuesday, that means only one thing. It's the return of the living legend, one of the greatest to have ever done it. Coach Ronnie Shields. Ronnie, how are you, brother?
Doing great, man. Doing better. Say that.
Oh, praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ, man. We were saying, we were last week at this time, we were praying for you, my friend. All of us in the chat, all of us. So I tell you what, thank you, prayer warriors, for coming through, and thank you, Jesus. Guys, I couldn't do this without my dear friend, one of the hardest working men in this business, the incomparable J.R. Bell. J.R., how are you, brother?
Yo, man, just chilling. Like I said, it's been very busy in the sport of boxing. Going into the second quarter of the year. So we've had a lot of action already, and we got more left to go.
Yep, we do. New fights getting announced seemingly every single week. And that's the way we like it, guys. So let's get started with.
Hey, we ain't ducking and dodging nobody. It's time for fact or fiction.
I thank you, Floyd. I appreciate it. I'll tell you what, that's nice of Floyd to do that for Ronnie's show, isn't it? I tell you what, here we go. Big James, number one.
All right, on June 7th, both men will be floored, but Keyshawn Davis will emerge victorious against the very dangerous Edwin De Los Santos. Fact or fiction?
I'm gonna say that's a fact. I think Keyshawn is on the roll right now, and he's very confident in what he can do, and his skills are really great. This kid got some really good skills, and I think W.A.W has done a great job with this kid.
Yeah, you know what? W.A.W is doing a fantastic job. But I do think Edwin De Los Santos, who's an excellent fighter, he's going to have his moments. What is the most important thing, and how do you deal with a counterpunching badass like that, who's really heavy-handed? What is the best thing to offset that, Coach?
Well, just to try to put him on defense. Mostly heavy-handed guys has no defense. They're used to backing you up and doing what they want to do, and they're not used to a lot of punches coming at them. So I think Keyshawn, he's going to be real active in this fight, and he's going to force De Los Santos to try to block and then fire punches back, and that's going to be very difficult for a puncher.
Well, I tell you what, and Coach, my apologies, and once again, we'll just let that go, and I'll hear it on the playback, because you would have thought that I was in a match unit, how low that helicopter was, and I guess that's just the problem, and my fault for doing the show outside. Chihuahua, man. But hey, thanks for your insight, Coach. I wish I could have heard it. Big James. Do you think this fight's gonna be made and announced soon?
It'll be made. It'll be announced pretty soon. It'll be at the uh, Norfolk, Norfolk, Virginia, there for June 7th. So definitely, I'm looking forward to it. Scope Arena was a great scene last year with the Davis versus Gustavo Lemos fight, and it'll be the same way here for this one. I think Keyshawn is gonna try to get to another level in the fight against Edwin De Los Santos, and for De Los Santos, it's gonna be interesting for him, given that he had the thing with the blood clot issue that was really serious for him. So I like to see how he would, kind of fare when it comes to movement, because he was moving, a good amount there to try to catch up with Shakur Nafis Saeed Stevenson in his last bout. So we'll see how he does here. He won't have to, chase around that much with Keyshawn Davis, but he will have to deal with a good amount of offense, though.
Absolutely.
Sorry about that. I was muting my mic once again because it's anyway, the mash unit here. But hey, well, look, if he follows the coach's strategy, yeah, you won't have to be looking for Keyshawn Davis. I tell you what, the only thing I don't like about Keyshawn at this time is his damn ring moniker. Coach, he needs to think of a nickname, a new one, instead of the businessman. If you had to come up with that, what nickname and ring moniker do you think fits him the best at this time?
Oh, I don't know, man. I'm not good at nicknames, so I'll let James take this one.
Yeah, that's why you make the big bucks, brother. You don't want to have to deal with that stuff. You leave that up to the PR guy and the manager. Gee. I tell you what, we want to welcome Big Luke from New York. Thank you, brother, for supporting the coach on this day. He says, welcome back, coach. Glad you're doing better. Praise God. Praise God indeed. Thanks be to God. Thank you, Heavenly Father. And brother Richard Sampson says, ignore that De Los Santos has been on a very long layoff. Ronnie, especially for a counterpuncher, that's not good, is it?
Not at all, And, Keyshawn has been really active. So, and plus he's going into home turf. Man, that's a lot against him. He would have to rise up to the occasion big time to win this fight. Not that he can't do it, but to me, I just think Keyshawn is the smarter fighter and the better fighter.
Yeah,
Coach, are you still there with us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay, very good, very good. I'm very good. I'm sorry, it's just dragging a little bit. That's probably on my end because I got a toaster, a free toaster when I bought this damn computer. Chihuahua. Yeah. Oh, geez. So, James, you were saying something.
The thing with counterpunchers, as Coach Ronnie mentioned, is timing is everything with counterpunchers, and being able to, gauge what your opponent is doing, but also having that type of reflex to, kind of snap back or get the movement right in order to snap back against your opponent. Here, for the early tail of the tape, both of these fighters are pretty much around the same height with the same reach. So it's not like, something with De Los Santos having a reach advantage to a certain extent. It's more about how he, kind of like utilizes the spacing, where he's going to be at in positioning. Foot positioning is going to be very important in this bout, so he's going to have to, deal with that because this is orthodox versus southpaw. So foot positioning is definitely going to be important in this bout here for De Los Santos. So, he has to see if he could, get his timing down. His reflexes are good and is able to be, very fluent with his punch output against a Keyshawn Davis because Keyshawn Davis is very quick.
Indeed. I tell you what, I like all points. And yeah, James Toney once told me that that's why he always stayed in the gym. That's why he always loved that hard sparring, because he never, in between fights, he never wanted to have that ring rust, because it really disrupted his timing and rhythm. Very, very good points, gentlemen. And Big Luke, I like it. Keyshawn, do him dirty Davis. I love it. Woo!
It's either that or the showstopper.
You know, instead of the businessman, I like Demolition Man better. Keyshawn, Demolition Man Davis. How do you like that?
That's a good one.
Woo! Plus, it's a great song by the Sting and the Police. I love it, guys. But hey, let's move on. We've got so many. We've got 13 different fact or fiction. So let's look. I'm dying to hear what Coach has to say about this one. So let's jump around, guys.
All right.
Yeah, and I don't mean the rap song from the 90s. Here we go, guys.
Doom,
12.
doom, 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 doom. Oh,
Yeah.
pack it up, pack it in. Let me begin. Oh, my bad. All right. Deontay Wilder will announce his retirement from boxing on June 27th after getting knocked out by Tyrell Herndon. Fact or fiction?
Fiction.
Yeah. You know Terrell. You know Terrell, brother.
Yeah,
So does he have a chance on June 27th in Wichita, Kansas?
Well,
Again, when he takes on Deontay Wilder.
look, anybody have a chance. You know, when you step in between them ropes, you have a chance. He has a puncher's chance, and that's it. You know, Deontay haven't been shown to take a good punch as of lately. So, you know, this kid, he's probably gonna just wait. You know, he's just gonna wait for one punch and see if he can get that lucky punch. But in the meantime, you know, I think Deontay still has the power, because you never lose that. And I think if Deontay really works behind that long jab he has, the big right hand is going to be there all night. So, but I'm going to say Deontay by knockout.
Wow, I tell you what, did you have a round, Ronnie? Picking a round?
I'm going to say early, 3.
Oh, you're being nice. Woo! I love it. Yes. I tell you what, guys, prayers for both Deontay Wilder and Terrell Herndon, because once again, guys, you can play basketball, you can play baseball, but you can't play boxing. And when you're talking about two devastating punchers, guys with heavy hands, yeah, this is nothing to toy with, guys. Prayers to both men, and we wish them both well and hope for a very successful evening for both of them. Speaking of retirement, number 13, James.
All right, here we go. Canelo will announce his retirement from boxing after completing his 4-fight deal with Turkey LLC. Fact or fiction?
I can see that happening, so I'm going to say fact.
Wow,
I think Canelo,
what,
he's been around a very long time. And really and truly, you know, it's going to always be fighters there for him to fight. But the guys that's coming up now don't have the name associated with what he needs in order to, you know, get up in the morning, you know. And you could throw money at him all day, but for a fighter, he needs a challenge. And,
yeah.
And I don't think he has many challenges left in him right now. And it takes a lot for a fighter, you know, who has all the money in the world, who has, you know, no worries that we know of. But it takes a lot for him to get up in the morning, to run or to train. And, you know, it just takes a lot to do that. And at some point in your life, you have to say, you know, this is it. And I really and truly believe after these 4 fights, Canelo Alvarez would hang him up.
You know what? I concur. I think you're absolutely right. And once again, Coach, when you start telling everyone in the media who asks, you know, I earn the right to fight whomever I want, you know, and you can't take anything away from me. When you start saying that, do you have 1 foot out of the ring already?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
So here's a bonus factor fiction, Coach.
Okay.
Who retires for, I'm sorry, Gervonta Davis will announce his retirement before Canelo Alvarez. Fact or fiction?
Fiction.
Oh, you think this controversial draw with Lamont Roach Jr. awakened the Kraken? Do you think it
Oh,
awakened the sleeping giant?
oh, absolutely, absolutely. I really believe that Tank, he might have underestimated Roach a little bit, and he may not have had a great training camp because of that. He may have thought, hey, I can hit him one time and it's going to be all over, and that shot never came. So, and I really believe now he understands that you could take no one lightly, despite being who you are and who people think you are. So, but Roach didn't care who Tank was on that night, and he properly trained for this fight the way he was supposed to, and he showed out, and he showed that he's a really good fighter. That you can't take me lightly, and I really and truly believe Tank has learned from this mistake.
Well, I tell you what, he better hope he does. His fans had better hope he does. Well, I'll tell you what, because Lamont just showed that he deserves to be on the big stage. Let's just hope that he turns into a much bigger ticket seller for Pro Box and PBC with with much more fan appreciation and recognition. Come on, fans, let's start supporting the man. Chingao James, you have anything to add to that, sir?
Hopefully within the next 2 days I could get more information on this. But going from research on a couple of websites, it may look like the rematch is coming on June 21st.
Wow. That's my late dad's birthday. Love you, Dad.
And I mean, it kind of like fits into schedule, at least for Tank Davis, because at that time last year he fought Frank Martin over in Vegas. And there's been like some hints about potential bouts that could be on the card. And yes, TGB Promotions has put down the application or whatever to book the T-Mobile Arena for that date. So yeah, it looks like it may end up being June 21st.
Woo! You gotta love
like
that.
I said, I'll have confirmation on that possibly within the next couple of days.
Gotta love that. And thank you, James. We appreciate that, sir. Can't wait to read it up on the boxingsource.net. Guys, if you haven't already, please go bookmark the boxingsource.net. And right now, my Reds are trying to rally in the bottom of the seventh, down 1-0 to the Texas Rangers. Woo! Look at that. Look at me, man. Double duty right here, brother. We want to welcome Eric Gomez, and thank you for supporting the coach, Ronnie. Yes, sir. One of the greatest to have ever done it. We love it, and we're all the wiser for it. Hawker Mustang, salute to you, my friend. And he said, Roach won the fight, coach. Well, I sound like Dr. Peterson there. Well, life is hard, especially when you don't clean up your damn room. Sorry, guys. That was my terrible Dr. Jordan Peterson impression. Guys, it won't happen again, I promise. Let's move on to Fact or Fiction. We have, where is it? Hold on. Okay. Here it is. Let's do this one. Right here, since we're talking about PBC and Pro Box, right here, number 3, James.
PBC will form a merger with Pro Box, creating more opportunities for young and hungry fighters within the American market. Fact or fiction?
Whoa, that's a hard one. But that could be probably a fact. That would be smart, I believe. I really and truly believe that would be smart because, for the younger fighters especially, they'll get more recognition that they deserve. And, And with pro box, you can really do that. You don't have to have your main guys on that platform all the time. Which is good. But I think we get to see more of the up and coming guys. That's with PBC.
Tell you what, guys, and if you hadn't heard, or if you hadn't read, go check out the boxingsource.net, in which James put out one heck of a rumor mill and announced it on my show last night. Hey, didn't you, James? Would you like to expound on it? What did you hear?
That we could have a potential merger between Heyman Boxing through Premier Boxing Champions, or that is a TV presentation, but Heyman Boxing and Gary Jonas through Pro Box, that they could have something where you'll be able to see more of those fighters that are under the advisement of Al Heyman being on more either events through Pro Box, or have something worked out with Pro Box and Amazon Prime. So more dates, more opportunities for these fighters. It's a good move all around if that happens.
Yep.
Sorry about that, guys. A damn bumblebee almost got me. Oh, jeez. Wow. That was crazy close. Almost right on my proboscis. Jeez. Wow. That was pretty creepy. Once again, I missed that entire response, but I'll listen back to it. Oh, my goodness. Number 4, Big James, please.
Tank versus Shakur will never materialize. Never, ever, ever.
Yeah.
Fact or fiction.
That could be a fact. That's a lot of never evers. So I got to go with that. Look, I mean, I don't know. Because I'm not sure that these guys really want to fight each other. And the reason I say that is because, these two are the best fighters at the lightweight division right now. And of course, Shakur is on the Matchroom side and Tank is on the PBC side. So where would you put it? Somebody has to relent. I mean, they could do it on both networks. But, I think we've seen that before. And I don't think the outcome was really good when that happened that way. So, and I'm not sure Shakur would want to do it on PBC, being the main promoter, than Matchroom, and vice versa as Tank. I don't think he would want to do it, but Eddie Hearn being the top match, the top promotional company and not PBC. So I don't think the fight is going to happen, to tell the truth.
I tell you what, guys, and if you thought Crawford versus Spence was a horrific negotiation, yeah, how do you think Shakur versus Tank would look?
Similar, very similar.
Oh, boy. Yeah, we don't need another one of those. Gee, wawa. James, do you concur with the coach?
Yeah, it's all about the money. And
and you mean when you were training Mike Tyson, you didn't like the dual broadcast teams?
Yeah, that was kind of strange.
Yeah, with both ring announcers making their by Michael Buffer and Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Yeah.
Remember, with the bodyguards
Yeah.
dividing the two? That was absurd, coach. But in the mortal words of Lennox Lewis, I was afraid he was going to try to bite my willy. Oh, geez. Is that the craziest camp and craziest promotion you've ever been a part of, Ronnie?
One of the craziest, yes.
Oh,
I would have to say that.
Okay, well, yeah. In other words, wait till you see the promotion for Charlo versus Plant. Woo! Moving on to number 5, guys.
Here we go, number 5. Jamal Charlo will stop Caleb Plant later this year. Fact or fiction?
Well, you know what? They're both supposed to fight on the same card
Mm-hmm.
on May 31st.
Mm-hmm.
But I read something today, though. I read it, so I don't know if it's true or not, that it's still not even close to being signed yet, on Caleb Plant's side. So, because Plant is looking at Berlanga.
What?
That's what I read today.
Oh,
So-
you know what, man? Well, you know what? Let him take care of Berlanga. We'll feature Jamal in the co-main. Set that big fight up for later this year. What's wrong with that?
I don't know, man, but let's see what happens because,
Yeah.
I was told one thing, but today I read another. So,
Well, be careful
every
when
day
you
is
read.
something.
So where did you read it, though, Coach? That's a big thing.
Yeah.
It was on Boxing Scene, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, the guys, they do a good job on Boxing Scene. But as long as you didn't read it from Dan Raphael, did I say that out loud on the air? I didn't mean to.
You know what, Joseph? You wish you're half the man I am.
Yes, quite literally. I'm half the man you are. Jeez. Hold on.
Okay.
Eric Gomez says, yep, Plant wants that Berlanga payday.
Well,
Yeah, well, we'll see how much of a payday that is without Canelo Alvarez attached to it. Ronnie, do you think Edgar Berlanga is a ticket seller without Canelo?
No,
We already know Plant isn't.
no,
Mhm.
no.
And there it is. Yeah. So we're moving on, guys. Number 6, guys.
yeah, number 6. All right. Although Seabass Fundora looked great in his beating of Cordell Booker, he remains the weakest of the current title holders at 154 pounds. Fact or fiction?
Oh, that's definitely fiction. Look, man, this dude, he's a phenom.
Woo!
I'm telling you, this guy, he can actually punch. And but that height, he doesn't use his height, which it don't seem like he have to.
Yeah.
Nobody's made him use his height yet. Because he likes to come forward. And man, this guy, he throws some wicked shots. And man, when he hit Booker, it was like, man, I couldn't believe how he was hitting him, and he was landing clean shots. And man, it was really, I was really impressed. I really was. And people can say what they want to about this kid. This kid he can possibly beat anybody.
Yeah, well, you know what? He maybe he should get that LASIK surgery though, and maybe he can start seeing past 2 feet, past his face. Jeez, you do realize that's the reason why he fights in the pocket, right? It's like that's the first thing that you notice when you meet Seabass Fundora and his beautiful family. And I love those guys. They're some of the nicest people that you won't just meet in this business, but in life.
Yeah.
Great people. But it's noticeable, those Coke bottle rims of his. It's like, dude, he looks like he could see into the future.
Oh my God.
Like Samson, come on, help the brother out. Pay for some of that LASIK surgery. And don't tell me it's against his religion. Jeez. James, did I miss anything there?
No, not really. With Fundora, yeah, he at least, I mean, he looked a lot sharper there in this battle against Cordell Booker. So I like him to, really kind of like up the ante as far as like polishing his overall offensive style. So him and in potential matchups against, like Murtazalia or somebody else around that caliber, like he would be pretty much a good chance to beat any of those guys there at 154 currently.
I agree. You know what, James? And the reason why I made this, because you sent me this.
Terrible fan takes on Twitter/X.
I'm not going to play the whole thing. I just want you guys to hear the greatest Kenyan accent of all time. But I am sick and tired of fans regurgitating this nonsense that Sebas Fundora, Sebastian, oh man, he's easily the weakest at 154 pounds. James, aren't you sick of hearing that?
Yeah, I mean, given his current CV or resume, he's fought these guys here, not just with Booker, but with Tim Tszyu, with Erickson Lubin. The thing with Brian Mendoza, he was winning pretty much every round until he slipped up. So you up to that point, he was pretty much like one of the top guys at 154. So I don't see like what these fans have an issue with when it comes to Sebastian Fundora.
You know what? I'm going to use the Devin Haney or the Bill Haney and say they're doing that because he's a Mexican warrior. They're just being racist. No, I'm kidding. Guys, forgive me. That was a terrible Bill Haney joke. Look, I'm sick and tired. Well, anyway, that's for another episode. Selena and the Don Chargan stories, please. You know what, guys? I'm going to have to designate tomorrow and just read a few chapters from the memoir of Don Chargan that I was lucky enough to pen. So, guys, I'm going to do that tomorrow. Thank you for bringing that up, Sonny. I appreciate you being here and supporting the coach. Eric Gomez says, Fundora, towering inferno monster. Tell you what, 6'6", coach. Do you know, fun fact, guys, he is the tallest reigning world champion in boxing at this time.
Yep.
Taller than Usyk, taller than Dubois.
Yep, by half an inch.
That's it. Guys, he is a freak of nature, and he's a phenom, and don't discount the Mexican badass. Tell it, I love it, guys. I love boxing. Guys, we're going to jump to, let's save this, and we're going to play. We're going to bring back a buy it back by popular demand. Here's the segment. We're going to take a break from Fact or Fiction.
It's time for the BoxingSource.net Rapid Fire Q&A.
Woo! Big James, the floor is yours, sir.
All right, I'm going to come up with about five questions here for Coach Ronnie Shields. All right, here we go. Number one, favorite place to go get a steak?
Steak. Man, that's hard. Steak 48.
Gotcha.
Wait, what was that?
Steak 48.
Steak 48, and that's in Houston?
Yes.
Wow. Tell you what, I wish they had one in San Antonio. No, but I tell you what, my favorite, to be honest, Ronnie, my favorite steak place, and I do love Perry's, that originated in Houston.
I like Perry's.
But my favorite is Ruth's Chris. I love Ruth's Chris. Everything
nice,
about it. I love Ruth's Chris, and a very close second is Morton's. Love Morton's too. Yeah. James, what's your favorite steak place?
Well,
and if
I
you
was
say Outback, I'm going to kick you off.
No. No, if I said Texas Roadhouse, you might get me.
Oh, you know what? The best thing about Texas Roadhouse is their cinnamon butter, and that's it. Damn.
Yeah, it's either Ruth's Chris or Morton's for me. So
there it is, guys. There it is. And number 2, James.
What would you say is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie of all times?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, man, I got so many of them. Favorite movie. Y'all not going to like this.
Let's make this.
It's easy
for
me.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Rudy.
Woo!
And I'm saying Rudy because I had the pleasure of meeting Rudy.
Really? The real life?
The real life Rudy,
That's so awesome.
Got to hang out with him a little bit when I went to Notre Dame. When I was training Mike Lee, we fought at Notre Dame, and Mike Lee's father knew Rudy pretty well. So me and him, we hung out for a little while. He had a lot of questions for him, and I mean, it was really, really a great experience for me.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I tell you what. I can't say that I've met anyone that cool except for Ronnie Shields. That's the truth. Well, James, the next one, please. What about what?
Okay, I would say if there was an instrument that you could play, which one would it be?
For me, it'll be the guitar.
Tell you what, Coach. Whenever I'm in town, free lessons from me, brother.
All right.
Woo! Tell you what. Yeah. Can you imagine playing guitar for the hardest working man in show business, James Brown, being in his funk band?
That would be great.
That's a dream job right there. James, let's fire that same question to you. If you could play an instrument, what would it be?
The thing is, I can play an instrument, and that instrument is the trombone.
Really? Okay.
That is awesome. You used to play in band.
Correct.
That is awesome,
wow.
brother. Wow. Did you ever take it to the collegiate level?
Some would say that I should have taken it to the collegiate level because when I came up, I used to be under the tutelage of multiple directors under the Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University. Yes,
wow.
That's right, the Marching 100. So I could have been in the Marching 100, but being in Tallahassee for as long as I was during the high school years, I got bored of that city. I wanted out of there.
Wow. And I tell you what, guys, that's and you play the trombone, and poor Devin Haney plays the tromboner at PB's house. Woo! Did I just say that terrible joke on the air? Sorry, guys. And Eric Gomez says, yeah, I play a mean triangle. I'll bet you do, brother, especially at dinner time. Yeah. I can't believe I said that on the air. My apologies, guys. Forgive me, Lord Jesus. Jeez, tromboner. Chingao. Yeah. Next one, Big James. Do you have another one for us? That's 3, right?
I don't really have another one, actually. So
okay. I tell you what. Thank you, brother. Thank you for that. That's very insightful, and we love to know and learn new things about the man, the myth, the legend, Ronnie Shields. Yes. Love it. Oh, let's do this. What is the last good movie that you've seen that you can remember?
Oh, man. Shoot.
What's the last good documentary that you've seen?
The last good documentary that I seen. Oh, wow.
I'll tell you mine. It was
I can think of mine.
In Search or Searching for the Sugar Man. And I even recommended it several weeks ago. Guys, if you haven't seen it, it won 2013's Best Documentary Oscar winner, right? For 2013, Searching for the Sugar Man. It's a story, guys, that's true, and you won't believe it. It's crazy. It's a man who, he put out 2 albums back in the 70s. He never really caught fire, sold about maybe 20 copies in America, and he had no idea that he was a folk hero and a multi-platinum selling artist in South Africa. And they found him, and he just passed away a couple weeks ago. And so, guys, if you haven't already seen it, go see Searching for the Sugar Man, Oscar-winning documentary. Coach, did you come up with something?
No, I can't think of anything.
That's all right. That's all right. We'll save it for next week, brother. So I tell you what, let's go back to Fact or Fiction. We still have a lot to cover. Number 7, Big James.
The British Boxing Board of Control needs to save Del Boy, Derek Chisora, from himself and force him to retire. Fact or fiction?
I'm going to say fiction, man.
Oh, boy.
As long as he's winning, why would you want to make him stop?
Because he's going to get his ass whooped by Daniel Dubois. Oh.
That's okay. Hey, hey, he might pull a George Foreman, man.
He's a tough man. He's a tough
Yeah.
man, but come on, Ronnie.
Suppose he pull a George Foreman, then what?
I'll say it happened. It happened. Woo! God bless George Foreman.
Yeah.
I
Yes,
tell you
indeed.
what, Coach, we haven't caught up with you since he passed away, or did we?
No.
No, we haven't. And I think I was the first one who told you about it, didn't I?
Yeah, you were. You were. You called me.
What were your thoughts when you heard the news and discovered that about the unfortunate passing of one of the all-time greats, the incomparable George Foreman?
You know, I talked to his brother Roy a lot. You know, me and Roy always keep in touch all the time. And, you know, and he never said anything about George being ill or something like that. But I always ask him about George, you know, when we speak. And he always, oh, you know, George is good. He's, you know, he's being George, you know. And, but man, you know, I used to see George so much back in the day. And we used to talk all the time. And man, he used to come to the gym sometimes and just, you know, speak with us, speak with Lou with George Benton. And, you know, it could be because he had history with Evander Holyfield. You know, he used to come watch Holyfield train a lot, you know, and, you know, Big George, man, he's such a great guy. And I remember when he became a commentator, you know, he was so good, you know, because he understood the fighters. And I think when people get that insight like that, they really pay attention to boxing. When they have people that been in the sport that know what they're talking about. And Big George was that guy. And man, I think people used to just turn on HBO just to see George Foreman because he was so good at commentating these fights. But George Foreman, the man, unbelievable. You know, if you wanted to ask him anything, you know, he had an answer for it. You know, he was just that good of a man. And he always took time out to talk to everybody whenever he came to the fights or, you know, or to the gym or anything. You know, he always took time out to talk and, you know, he never shunned anybody, you know, and may George rest in peace.
We talked about the thing there with Big George, you know, last week, and y'all talked about him as far as like being among the top three, at least the top three heavyweights in two different eras.
Yes.
And those two different eras were the golden eras of boxing, basically, as far as like the heavyweight division were in the 70s and the 90s.
Right.
And, you know, we had, you know, those two eras. And the thing with the 70s was he had that run with, you know, Joe Frazier, Ken Norton, Muhammad Ali. He had like another fight.
Ron Lyle.
Yeah, Ron Lyle.
That was the best one.
And then Joe Frazier again.
Yep.
Like that
Yeah,
was like
George was an original, and he was even very frank about his grills. If you asked him, he's like, "Nah, I didn't come up with that. They just wanted me to put my name and my signature on it," and I said, "Yup."
Well, I tell you, man.
And he said, "Fun fact: they actually offered it first to Hulk Hogan, and he was dumb enough to turn it down."
Yeah.
George Foreman told me that. That's amazing.
Well, let me tell you something, man. I'm not really down with grills. See what I do? No, I'm just playing.
I tell you what, man. I bet you regretted it after he saw all the success that George Foreman had. But I tell you what, they not only tuned in and appreciated George's insight on HBO, but they also enjoyed his verbal sparring sessions with Larry the Legend, Larry Merchant.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I know I did.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. You know.
And did you love it when George pulled rank on Larry? Now, you know what? You don't know this because you've never stepped in the ring before. You know, George, we can disagree without you pulling rank on me.
I tell you, man. But I was in a corner with Holyfield when Holyfield fought Foreman, and man, it was just so great being there, because we knew that, and Evander knew that George was going to be tough. He said he's older, but he's tough, and he said I got to be in the best shape of my life, and he was, and I have a picture of me and George that I look at every day in the gym, and when I got to the gym today, I went and I looked at it, and George, he was just such a nice man.
I tell you what, one of the greats, and just every fiber in his body, just kindness, loving, just generosity through and through, and a good God-fearing Christian. God bless you, brother. May your soul rest in peace. One of the greats.
And also, we had one of those things there, like being part of the 90s. They had a video game after him, too. So, that's
I tell you what, my favorite boxing video game still of all time is the original Mike Tyson's Punch-Out for the NES. Woo! That's my favorite. Tell you what, welcome for, she says, thank you, Mr. Ronnie Shields, for stopping by. Tell you what, same time, same place every Tuesday, Daisy. Thank you for supporting the coach on this day. And Michael Shaw. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. God bless you, brother. And thank you for supporting the coach on this day. And Eric says also, the Sugar Man was a Detroit artist. Yes, he was. Working as a laborer. That's absolutely right. And he also says, rest in peace, George. Yes, sir. Rest in peace indeed. And Sonny also says, thanks for sharing, coach. Yep. And Martin, 9400, thank you for supporting the coach, says George Foreman's passing was the first time a boxing legend's death made me sad. Well, I tell you what, it's unfortunately not the first time for me, and sadly it won't be the last. That's the best thing about this business is the brotherhood, Ronnie.
Yes,
would you like to share your thoughts on how amazing this community can be at times?
Oh man, and when George passed, I know, I just read so much from everybody. Everybody seemed to have a thought about either meeting George, being with George, talking with George, and and it's, George was really a great man. He really and truly was. And George was a very religious man, and he always talked about God, always,
Indeed.
And George is just, like I say, man, he was just such a good person that, sometimes when you get to be popular, you kind of shun people away sometimes.
You mean like Devin Haney? No, I'm sorry. Keep going, Ronnie. My apologies.
But George would never do that. And when George worked for HBO, man, when he walked out, he always walked out early so he could greet people, sign autographs, take pictures and stuff like that. Not many guys would do that, but George always did. And I've never seen George turn a person away at all. I've seen so many others do, but not George. George was always there to shake hands and talk to people, and just an all-around great man.
He truly was, Ronnie. And I'll be honest, the two times that I cried when two greats passed, and I'll be honest, it devastated me, both of them, and makes me emotional just even thinking about it, was the passing of the greatest to have ever done it, and that was Emmanuel Stewart. His passing really hurt me. And also the passing of my mentor, Don Warwick Chargan. That devastated me. And so, unfortunately, it won't be the last because I absolutely love this community. Absolutely love the boxing brotherhood, guys. It's what keeps me going. But, guys, God bless you. And it's moments like this that I love doing this show with Maestro Ronnie Shields. Thank you, Coach. I love it, brother. God bless you, and thank you for your pearls of wisdom and all of your stories. Tissue anybody. Number 8, Big James.
Turkey LLC will shock many by swooping in and winning the purse bid for Bivol Benavidez next week. Fact or fiction?
Well, that could be a fact.
Oh,
could
I
be a
hope
fact.
so. Fingers crossed, Ronnie.
That could be a fact. I think he loved both guys, but he really liked Bivol a lot. So, and he probably won that. He probably want to do that fight. So, I can see him doing that, definitely.
Coach, do you think that might end up in the co-main event of Canelo versus Crawford in September?
That's a strong possibility. I mean, man, that would be, oh wow, that would be. I didn't think about it like that, but because that's a main event on its own, really.
Yeah,
Really,
but
truly, that's a main event on its own.
so is the last
But-
crescendo.
Yeah,
So is the
yeah.
last crescendo
But-
in February.
But that would do huge ratings.
Yeah,
Huge.
you're right. You're right. I tell you what, guys, I hope that he does swoop in because I'm sorry. Samson Lukowitz and David Benavidez, they're receiving way too much scrutiny with Mauricio Suleiman for enforcing their mandatory position at 175 pounds. Ronnie, is it warranted or not? And one of the reasons why they're receiving this much scrutiny is because they didn't do it at 168 pounds. Now, once again, if you know anything about this business and just been a fan for a considerable amount of time, you understand exactly why Samson didn't do that. So is the scrutiny and criticism merited at this time?
Oh, man, that could be yes and that could be no.
Yeah.
I mean, it really could. But, I really and truly believe people really want to see the third fight between, Bivol and Petreviev. I really and truly believe that. I think they got history. They 1-1, and these guys are two excellent world champions that's been around a while. Benavidez just arriving to the light heavyweight division. So, and to pull that, is going to make a lot of people mad, especially the boxing fans. I really and truly believe that. But it's not a bad fight between Benavidez and Bivol. That's a great fight in itself. So, look, the fans are going to win either way it goes, but I think some are really going to be pissed off.
Wow. So you're pissed off for a whole different approach. A whole different reason. James? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ronnie. Go ahead,
Well,
brother.
I just feel that these guys got history. They both are world champions. They both 1-1. And, if it was anybody, if it was Canelo, if it was anybody else, they would do that. They would let them do that. But because of these two guys, they don't want them to do the third fight. And I just can't see why. Why don't they let these guys go ahead and settle it? In boxing, that's just what boxing is supposed to be all about. They
Money,
keep
money,
saying,
money, money.
yeah, but they keep saying the best supposed to fight the best. And, and we're trying to do that, but
Yep.
then they're not allowing it to happen. What's going to hurt a few more months? A few more months is not going to hurt anybody.
That's true. That's true. And when you consider the age of
Yes.
Arthur Beterbiev,
Uh-huh.
yeah,
Yes.
you know what? That makes perfect sense.
Yep.
Absolutely. He's 41 years old. What they want? I don't understand. You know what, they want to make him get 3-4 more years on him and then put him in? Then, people we don't want to see that he's too old. The guy still has, has life in him. Let him go ahead. And he already proved that he's one of the best light heavyweights in the world. So, I think that takes precedent over everything else that's on the table right now.
But I tell you what, I think you just won your case, brother. Slam the gavel down. I'm with Ronnie. That makes perfect sense. Yes, damn you, Samson. Damn you, Mauricio. Let's move. James, you have anything to add to that before we jump to number 9, sir?
I mean, real quick, we had like talked about this yesterday in reference to mandatories and them being enforced regardless of the belt. So, you know, I had said that it was very interesting that the mandatory is enforced in this particular case in the light heavyweight division. But what happened in the super middleweight division? Like I said, that's something for people to look into. But here in this particular case, yeah, I don't see why we can't have a third fight between Dimitri Bivol and Artur Beterbiev. Listen, David Benavidez will be there later on down the line, regardless of who wins the third fight. What's the point of having a Bivol versus Benavidez fight now when you can have it later?
Absolutely.
You know what, guys? The defense rests. That's a perfect argument, guys. Speaking of argument, oh boy, number 2. I almost forgot. We forgot number 2. James. Oh boy.
Terrence Allen Crawford is correct when he alludes to all-time great Emmanuel Dapidran Pacquiao taking PEDs during his illustrious career. Fact or fiction?
That could be a fact, man. I've been reading a lot about this lately. I mean, everybody's telling now. Wow, I can't believe it.
Yep. Guys, hey, you know what? Here, guys, and this is a lesson because there's always a smoking gun when something genuinely happens. So with all of you conspiracy theorists out there that talk about refs and judges being on the take, where's the smoking gun? Where's the big mouth? Okay? Think about that for a second, because let's just be real. Let's just be honest. At the elite level at that time, there were a lot of guys on the juice, Ronnie.
Oh, yeah.
Manny Pacquiao wasn't the only one. And dare I say, someone working with Snack takes one to know one now, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Terrence? Hey, I'm not saying anything. I just, just called.
I'm not saying, but I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. No, guys, look, this business, this fight game, it's the most physically and mentally demanding pastime. Like almost to where you don't even want to call it a mere pastime now, do you, Ronnie?
No, not at all.
This is the hurt business, guys. This is the fight game. So I'll tell you what. Who is the gentleman? Look, they just caught someone in baseball with PEDs, and they suspended him for 8 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Should we actually start giving out lifetime bans for guys who test positive from this point forward in order to start taking the drug testing thing, the PED thing seriously, Coach?
Well, I would say yes. It should have been that way.
Mhm.
But until you set somebody down, people are going to still find a way to keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, look, I will say this then, Coach. Follow the lead and the advice of the late, great Emmanuel Stewart. He goes, hey, you know what? Until these conditioning experts infiltrated our beloved boxing, we never had to worry about any of our fighters pissing dirty. You want to get rid of that? Kick them and ostracize them from the sport. I can't disagree with that, Coach.
No, you can't. You can't disagree with that because it's true.
And there
True
it
facts.
is. There it is. James, you have anything to add to that?
No, not much to add to that. Like I said with Terrence Crawford, he may know a few things about that.
Of course he does.
You don't say. You don't say, James. Yeah, just ask Victor Conti. Hey, how's old Victor doing, Terrence? Dingo. Yeah, you're working with him because he's a hell of a nice guy, aren't you? That's the only reason why you're working with him and he's on your team, right? Yeah. Did I just say that out loud? I'm sorry, guys. I was just supposed to be thinking about it. Number 9, Big James.
Top Rank will still be without a major network or platform when their contract expires with Disney/ESPN in July. Fact or fiction?
I'm gonna say fiction.
Mm.
Bob Aaron's been in his business so long. Trust me, he's working. He's working to find a network, and he's going to find somebody. That's Bob Aaron. This man has been in business longer than I've been alive. So, and I'm not no baby. So.
Yeah, unfortunately though, Ronnie, neither is Bob.
I know. Bob is
And
93,
let's just be
but you
honest.
know what?
Go ahead, sir.
Bob is 93 years old, right?
Yep.
But he's a very smart individual. And Bob knows a lot of people. So Bob is going to find a deal. Trust me.
That's right. And Eric Gomez corrected me, and you're right. It was Puffer from the Braves. And he got not 8 months, an 80-game ban half the season, guys.
Half the season.
Wow. I tell you what, that's like Ryan Garcia getting a year vacation and then being rewarded when he comes back with a career high. Oh, only in boxing, folks. Only in boxing. I tell you what, just get rid of these damn conditioning experts. Like, seriously, do we see the same output that we had from Gaddy Ward with these conditioning experts now?
No.
Do we see 15-round fighters with the same output as like Boom Boom Mancini or Livingstone Bramble?
Nope.
Rest in peace.
Yep.
No, we don't. So what purpose do they serve? Ah, there it is. There it is. Look, I'll say this, Coach. Could we see Top Rank merge with PBC or Top Rank merge with PBC as well?
That would be a great possibility. And that would be great, I think.
Honestly, I love it. I love it because there's no one better at developing prospects than Brad Goodman and Bruce Trampler.
Yep.
And I look once again, and I love Tom Brown. He's a great matchmaker as well. But yeah, they need the dates and they need the minds to help cultivate and all of that talent. Hey, what? That's the key, guys. That's the key. The matchmakers and the dates. Without dates, what are you going to do? And are you like? Do you scratch your head and wonder why? More fighters don't do off TV. Stay busy fights to stay active.
Well, because there's no money involved. There's no money involved in that, and just with the promoters being who they are, they're not going to give you the gate. It's not going to happen. They're not going to give you the gate if you're off TV, but you would think, right, that these up and coming fighters that, that when they first get on television, then they just want TV fights now because now they know the money is good. But to me, if you care about your career, okay, you're just starting out. Why not take these off TV fights to enhance yourself, to grow yourself? Everybody keeps saying boxing is a business, but people think that it's a business. So let me ask for the most money that's out there, but you don't have the numbers to show that you deserve those numbers.
There it is. There it is. That is very well said. James, do you have anything to add to that? Because that was a perfect response, wouldn't you say?
Yes, it was. Like you were saying there with the fighters, they a lot of them ask for a lot, but don't really understand like that they are not pulling that equivalent, so they can't really ask for something if they know that they're not getting those type of returns when they actually do fight. So, that's one thing that I think many fighters have to be able to grasp here in the future. There on that front, and with Top Rank potentially linking up with Heyman Boxing and PBC, that could be another possibility as well. So be on the lookout for that.
There it is. I tell you what, James will have the scoop. I know it. And guys, we want to welcome our brother Uthis Fernandez. Thank you for supporting the coach on this day, and the very insightful Uthis always. And we love you on the show, brother. He says, well, maybe they don't coach, maybe they don't fight as often because of their cycling. Oh boy. Oh boy. You just like to stir up trouble now, don't you, Uthis? No, I'm just joking. We were talking about that earlier. You know what? That is a very good point, Ronnie. And you can plead the fifth on that one, brother. You don't have to respond to that one.
No, I know.
But thank you for supporting the coach, Uthis. We appreciate you being here, my friend. And number 10, Big James.
Tevin Farmer did his best impression of Pernell, Sweet Pea Whitaker, by complaining about the judges, even though he generally lost his rematch with William Cepeda. Fact or fiction?
Oh, that's a fact.
Oh, poor Sweet Pea.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Did it ever amaze you? Or like, wait a minute. I distinctively remember him saying immediately following the Tito Trinidad fight, and we all saw that. And he goes, you know what? I'm sorry. As long as I keep on getting robbed by the judges at ringside, I'm still undefeated in my mind. And I'm like, boy, wait till you go back and watch that fight. Jeez. Coach, did you ever sit down and have a talk with Pernell or?
Oh yeah, plenty of talks. we talked. That's all we did was talk. We talked a lot.
Oh, geez. Is that now? Talk to everyone about this, but I think most people don't understand this. But that is a huge part of your training, isn't it?
Oh, without a doubt.
Can you elaborate on that, sir?
Well, when you have a fighter that's Hall of Fame worthy, say, or a world champion, they just don't want to hear how good they are. Or they just don't want to hear, about training. They want you to talk to them, to explain things to them. How did I get to this point? And it's a lot that goes into these conversations because they get really deep sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It goes way back to family then. And whether you know the family or not, they tell you about it. So it's like everything already, about the families. But just for instance, like with Pernell Whitaker, we, after training, everybody always came in my room because I had the dominoes in my room. So the dominoes and the cards were in my room. So, I was designated as that guy, So all the gambling happened in my room, and so that's, so you can only imagine a lot of pushing and shoving, a lot of cursing, a lot of people losing a lot of money. And then after everybody leave, then you got to have that conversation about what's going to happen in training the next day, And if somebody rubbed them the wrong way, then I got to tell them to look out tomorrow.
I love it, Coach. You know what? That's an interesting point, though, when you bring up the gambling and the dominoes, the cards, because Terry Francona in baseball, Hall of Fame coach, and he is our manager, skipper. He's now the head coach of the Reds, my beloved Cincinnati Reds. He said, a clubhouse that gambles together wins together. Do
No
you
doubt.
believe in that philosophy?
100%.
That's amazing. So
You
there
know,
it is,
because
guys. Go ahead.
no, because you know, when you're in the room and you're winning, somebody's losing. Everybody doesn't win. So you can imagine the fights I've seen that I can't talk about, you know?
Well,
Imagine that.
I will say this. If I were in your stable, I would have let David Tua win every single time.
Well, David actually was one of the guys that didn't gamble, didn't believe in it.
Oh, good for him. Good for him. I tell you what,
Yes.
God bless him, and I hope he's doing well. Uh, David Tua, Chinga. Yeah, you know what? Oh boy, who was? Well, no, I'll ask you off the air, Coach.
Yeah, please.
Now, speaking though of crying robbery, are too many fans? Let's go back to that card a couple Saturdays ago. In the undercard of Seabass Fundora and Cordell Booker. Do you think too many are crying about the decision of Elijah Garcia over Terrell Gaucher? And did you think the commentary was doing a good job that night, or were they too one-sided in favor of the
Well,
former Olympian?
I think they only was talking about what they saw. And normally that's the case. And Terrell Gaucher did not lose that fight. It's no way in hell he lost that fight. That was just utterly robbery.
Wow.
You know, I just don't understand what these guys, the judges, were looking at. You know, except for the one judge who gave the fight to Gaucher, but the other two, I can't believe it. You know, and the commentators normally they call what they see, and you know, and they were giving Gaucher a lot of credit for a lot of stuff he was doing. And they was doing that because of his age and because he's old school. He's been around a very long time.
Yep.
And fighting this young kid. But, I mean, come on, man. This guy, he was winning every round. I mean, you know, it may be in one or two close rounds. I can understand you giving them to the younger kid. But, man, there's no way in the world Terrell Gaucher lost that fight.
Wow.
That's highway robbery.
Wow. So, James, do you think he just earned another big payday, possibly against Jesus Ramos Jr.?
For Gaucher, I wouldn't be surprised if he is lined up for a fight against Jesus Ramos. There at 154, or maybe, or if they put him back, at 160, because Ramos has bounced up back and forth.
Oh, that's right, 54.
So
My
yeah, so that's the
apologies.
thing about it. Yeah,
Now, my
Ramos.
apologies for that.
Yeah, Ramos is campaigning. He's going to be campaigning 154. So I don't see Gaucher like getting down there to that particular
That's
level.
right. My apologies. He started his career at 54, and I forgot that fight was at 160 pounds. My apologies, guys. But yeah, so that was not as so which one yeah, it's a little perplexing because honestly, you didn't hear Terrell Gaucher acting like Tevin Farmer post fight now, did you though?
No.
He showed a lot more class. And
he's a gentleman, man. He really is. And he understands that this happens in the sport of boxing. But, you know, he's at the point of his career now that fight is not going to hurt him. You know, it's just going to make a bigger fight for him. So, trust me, he's going to be rewarded. He's going to get another good fight. He's going to get a bigger fight.
And there it is. There it is. James, who would you like to see him fight at 54? Or, I mean, at 60,
But
rather.
60. What about Kyron Davis?
Isn't Chiron at 68?
He's ranked at 60.
Oh, wow. Hey, that's a
Yeah.
great fight.
That's a great fight. Absolutely, that's a great fight.
Hey, sign it up. Great job of matchmaking there, Brother James. Last but definitely not least on Fact or Fiction tonight, guys.
Alexander Usyk versus Joseph Parker is destined to lose Saudi Arabia tens of millions of dollars unless a WBO mandatory defense is staged in Australia, Poland, or New Zealand. Fact or fiction?
I'm going to say fiction.
¿Por qué, señor? Yeah.
I just think that it doesn't matter what a fight is, man. You know, I think if it's Saudi Arabia, they're going to do what they always do. People are going to come, but it's not going to pack the house. How many times they have packed the house in all the fights that they've
Only
had
for
there?
Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua.
That's it. That's probably
Wow.
the only one they were packing for. So, you know, look, it's not about the people in the stands. They're not worried about those people. They worry about the ratings and the people that's really paying to see these fights. So the stands doesn't mean much. It's, you know, because that's money that they have already. That's already taken care of. But they need people buying the pay-per-view. That's what they need.
Wow, look, I'll say this. This is what you get, Turkey, by paying out terribly inflated purses. Now Usyk has grown accustomed to making at least 30 or 40 million dollars per fight. And where does he sell tickets? Where is he a ticket seller? Where is he a ratings draw? His pay-per-view numbers have been abysmal. So, and Joseph Parker is another one of those guys. Former champion, but couldn't sell out my living room on a Saturday night.
Yeah,
What are we
This-
going to do?
it's sad but true. Sad but true.
Well, I will say
No.
this. Thank goodness, Coach, it's not our problem. It's Turkey El Sheikh's.
Yes.
Thank goodness. Praise Jesus. James, do you have
Absolutely.
anything to add to that, sir?
Not really on to that, but going from the last thing that we talked about in reference to Terrell Gausha, apparently the World Boxing Association, with their updated rankings from yesterday, they actually have Terrell Gausha at number 10 in the WBA at
All
154.
right.
So maybe, just maybe, he could face Jesus Ramos Jr.
Dude, you
next.
sounded almost like Teddy Atlas right there. Maybe, just maybe.
Just
Get
maybe.
knocked out. Bang! And then you this. Dude, what's up with the P. Diddy references these days, man?
Oh,
Hey,
man.
Garcia was dropping the soap every round and got favored in the scorecards. That was sad. Dude, come on now. Shh. Man, are you saying that Garcia plays the tromboner also? Jeez. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. And Jose Chavez, good to see you, brother. Always the optimist. Those pay-per-view sales are an all-time low. It might be game over. Yeah, okay, dude. Thank you for supporting the coach, though, man. But we love your optimism, Jose. Thank you, man. Jeez. I think that's about it. I think we've been through everything. Unless you'd like to address this again, Deontay Wilder will announce his retirement from boxing on June 27th after getting KO'd by Terrell Herndon. Would you be interested in training Terrell Herndon for this seemingly impossible assignment? Mission impossible, Coach.
Oh, I don't know. Depends on what he pays.
So this one would have to be 50% instead of 10.
There you go. There you go.
Now, I had a conversation about this particular fight last week there with and Mr. Gary Russell Jr. And
Uh-oh.
he kind of suggested that maybe he could give a few tips here and there for Deontay Wilder in his upcoming bouts and things like that. So I don't know. I mean, he probably got in contact with him, but potentially, with of course Gary Russell Jr. being in the corner of his brothers, I don't know. Maybe he could have another person there to work with in Deontay Wilder. I don't know.
Oh boy. Ronnie, do you have any comments on that, or once again, would you like to plead the fifth?
Yeah, I'll plead the fifth on that one.
Ronnie, it's been an incredible episode. I always have fun. It's always the best part of my week, guys. Sharing the air with the living legend, Coach Ronnie Shields. And want to thank all of you for joining us, guys. And please hit the like button on the way out. And in case you missed any part of this, go ahead and rewind. Or just listen back to it later on tonight or tomorrow morning while you're having your cup of coffee. James, do you have any parting shots for our listening audience, sir?
Well, I mean, we have, as I mentioned here, the opening, there's a lot of action that's coming here for the sport of boxing. Actually, from the other day, yesterday, it was announced that a couple of fighters that are under the tutelage of Coach Ronnie Shields will be involved on the fight card on June 21st in the Prudential Center. So you're going to see Vito Mielnicki Jr. in action there against Kamil Garzelik in the main event, and you're also going to have Truck Simpson part of that card as well against William Townsend. So, it's always busy there with Coach Ronnie Shields.
There it is.
Absolutely.
There it is. I love it, guys. And once again, thank you, Big James. Wouldn't want to do the show, nor could I without you, my friend. Coach Ronnie, it's that time of the evening. Any parting shots for our listening audience, sir?
Yes, as always, you can follow me on Instagram at official Ronnie Shields.
Guys, on behalf of Big James and on behalf of the living legend, one of the greatest to have ever done it, Coach Ronnie Shields, I'm little old Joseph Heron. Thank you for tuning in and have a great evening, everybody.
Ventures proudly presents living legend and elite level trainer Ronnie Shields.